Greetings everyone, and I'm here to talk about an aspect of Armor King's game plan that is kind of like misunderstood. This is a mistake that I see a lot of Armor Kings kind of like talk about. And if you've seen my King versus Armor King comparison video, I made a point there that because Armor King missed a lot of key entries in the series, namely Tekken 3 and Tekken 5 Vanilla. Of course, he did miss Tekken 4, but very few people kind of like remember it fondly. Because of that, he has way less, let's say, loyal players or loyal followers compared to the rest of the cast. And most of his players are visitors. They either come from playing King here on the left, or they come from Mishimas, which is a little bit more realistic in my opinion. King players, when they play Armor King, they tend to play him like King, and I believe they don't get far, because you can't play King like Armor King, he's very different. And if you come from Mishimas, you're actually at a little bit of an advantage, because like wave dashing into while standing 4 is one of the best ways of playing Armor King. But here arises the problem. There is a concept that you're very familiar with if you're playing Mishimas, that if you apply it to Armor King without like examining it specifically for him, is going to, I believe, put you in a disadvantage if you transition over into high levels of play, which is plus on block, namely forward 4, which is the topic of today's video. Before I get to that, even on King, I don't advise you build your plan around plus on block all that much. The reason being is the following. First of all, when a usual character, like I can't get Armor King to block because King is the dummy in this training session, but I believe this is on block like +3. Okay, this is 17 frames, it's mid, it's fantastic. I'm not saying the move needs buffing in any shape or form, it's perfect as it is. So this is plus on block, okay? Whereas a usual character, once he puts you in a minus on block situation, their mix-up is going to be low versus mid. Now, for characters like King here and grapplers in general, they usually have crappy lows. Their lows are either not particularly rewarding or scary, negative on hit, or if they do have like some sort of advantage, they're launch punishable or dangerous to go for, reactable, or a combination of all those things. So what do? You're a grappler. You don't have lows, you have throws to substitute them with. First of all, if we're talking about high level, once you put your opponent in this minus on block situation, if he's good enough, if you're playing someone who knows what he's doing, he's not going to retaliate, he's not going to duck because he knows you have dangerous mids to mix him up with. I don't know why it's not coming out. Finally it came out. So he's going to hold back because he knows your lows suck, and he knows that if you're going to mix him up with something, it's going to be a throw. Going for regular throws like these is not going to get you anywhere, because your opponent is going to have both eyes peeled for throw breaks in that situation. They're going to immediately recognize, okay, I'm minus on block, this guy's going to mix me up. Let's just hold back and both eyes open, look for the hands. You do something like this, he's going to break 1+2. You do something like this stupid thing, you're going to get a 1 break. And so you're forced to pretty much either giant swing, because these are the only 2 throws that are completely ambiguous, or allegedly, because I'm going to talk about that in a second. But your opponent is going to know that, which is why you have to mix it up. I hope I get it even once. It's not coming out. With an instant Shining Wizard. Now, all of this execution, like point blank shining wizards are not the easiest thing in the world, okay? Like, it's hard, man. You're not going to get it each and every time. I'm sorry, I'm getting like a little bit better at them, but all of this is just a substitute for the fact that you don't have good lows. Even then, what about the mid? Well, you do have good mids, but they're all steppable almost. Like this tracks to one direction, this tracks to the same direction, and this tracks to another direction. If you go for something like this, which is 18 frames, like this is +3 on block, I believe. I'm not sure because I don't really use it that much, but even on hit, even on hit +7, this is interruptible with a jab. So your mix-up is so weak, is so convoluted, Like, you do this and they hold back, and you can't go for this because they might jab. What if they jab? If they block it, you're -9. If you do this, what if they step in the other direction? If you do this, what if they step in the other direction? If you do this, what if they step in the other direction? If they block it, you're -9. And your throws, like, okay, giant swing, okay, fine, but Shining Wizard is iffy. And I swear to you, if you watch the top level players, go watch like Knee's channel on YouTube. He's been uploading a lot of matches against Puma lately, which is a Korean king / armor king main. And I tell you, man, even you know, Shining Wizards he's able to break. He even distinguishes Shining Wizards from giant swings. Even though Puma, like I said, a Korean playing king, he's really mixing them up. And he can break them. Does this mean that plus on block is completely useless? No. But when it's done from approach, like when you do something like this and you close the gap with it, then yes, okay, fine. Because usually you approach with 4-4-1 as king. This is not particularly a king video, but still. When you get this block, it's -5. But I'd much rather approach with something that's +2 on block, like this. So, transitioning back to Armor King, I believe I kind of like made my point as to why I don't think plus on block is particularly that useful for grapplers. This pad is really horrible for Korean backdashing on player 2. Whatever. Still, if I'm willing to talk about this for starters, even this is not as good as you think. Because you're +2 here, okay? Now, the players I play against, we are not particularly highest rank or anything. They eat this into giant swing all day. Here I program King to sidestep left, but I'm going to make my point. First of all, there's a good answer to this, which is simply dick jabbing. If King dick jabs here, he ducks under my throws. Crouch throws don't really help because upon trade, the jab wins, okay? You do have a 12 frame mid, but it's going to trade. What do you do to combat the dick jab? Well, you can either jump over with a hop kick, which is going to work, but if they block that, you're punishable. You can low parry it, but if they don't go for it, you just like lost your plus frames completely, and you just like ducked in your opponent's face for no reason. Or you just like sidestep it, or like all of this just because they could dick jab. Additionally, they could just simply sidestep like I programmed King to do here. And if they sidestep your giant swing. Shining Wizard could clip depending on how good you do it, but like as you can see there, even Shining Wizard can be stepped. So what do you do here? Well, you have to rely on your tracking. Armor King has even worse tracking than King. Well, King's tracking is actually not that bad, but this is steppable. This King can't step because he's King and his sidestep is not fantastic, but other characters with bigger sidesteps, or if he sidewalks, he can step this. So 12 frame is out the window, 13 frame is out the window, and now we're in the range where I'm prone to dick jabs once again. Down back 2, King can't step it, but I assure you a lot of characters can. And you gotta remember, again, you're interruptible by a dick jab. On its own, it's punishable at -11. If you do the full thing, the second hit is duckable, and this mix-up is again also punishable. This is going to hit most characters, but again, on its own, it's -12. I talked about this move. Maybe you should check that other video. And finally, at 17 frames, down 2 is the safe tracking mid that we have. So, despite all of this, this is good at +2 because you would rather approach your opponent at plus frames than approach them with something that's minus. Okay? Or something like that. Here is where my problem is. 4-4 is even more horrible. On top of all the weaknesses that I already named, like if you do this into a throw, your opponent is going to have their eyes peeled and they're going to break it. Let's just put him back on just single step just to make my point. Your mix-up is not as good because you're not a Mishima, you're not a character with good lows, you're not a character with particularly good tracking mids. And here, allow me to blow your minds. Down forward 4, stepped. Down forward 1, stepped. Remember, King couldn't step this from a capital punishment, which is also +2. This is +2, and this is +2. But watch this. Down forward 1 hits. Down forward 1 is stepped. Okay, keep going. See? Remember when this used to hit him from this situation? It does not from here. And again, this is King. This is not Lily. This is not Alyssa. This is not Zafina, Fakumram, one of those characters with godlike movement. So we're at 14, and we still don't have a single mid that can hit him. Moving on. Even down forward 2, a move that I consider to be dog shit because it's -12 on block. You have to rely on this. Again, I made an entire video just about how horrible this move is. But even that move fails to track. What about my final option? Down 2 also whiffs. You have nothing to stop your opponent from stepping if you get them to block forward 4 on block, if you're on player 2. On player 1, if this is not going to work because he can't step left, I believe. But if I tell him to sidestep right, at least you have forward 3. Okay? So on player 1, you at least have something going. But on player 2, you have nothing. Even forward 3, this is 16 frames, man. You're interruptible by almost everything in the game. So this move, forward 4, once you come from playing Mishimas, you're used to forward 4 being super good, plus frames and whatever. This is not what you should be going for. This is an Oki tool for him, yeah? On the ground, this is good. Like, from max range, you get a little bit more plus frames, but I don't think this changes the argument that much, as you can see there. See? So, stop over-relying on forward 4. And this is what I'm trying to say. Without good tracking, you can't even use your plus frames. So please stop asking for more plus frames for Armor King, because they're not going to change anything. Your opponent, a good opponent, is going to step you all day. So ask for better tracking instead, please. Drop these stupid arguments of more plus frames on block. Even if you get them, they're not going to change things for you. Because short of making everything +9, which nobody is going to give you, you're still going to be put in the same situation. Your tracking moves are horrible, your throws are steppable, and your mix-up is not as strong, even if you're plus on block. Because again, your mix-up is like 2 breakable throws that people with super high execution can break even on reaction. And realistically, it's not super unrealistic to say that you could drop a Shining Wizard here. Okay? So my point is, please, when you're playing Armor King, don't impose concepts you've learned from other characters on him without testing them first. Mishima stuff can help you. Again, wave dash into wall standing 4 is perfect. It's a great way of playing the character because it's his best poke. Arguably, because a lot of his other folks don't track, and if they track, they're horrible. Again, we get back to the same issue, tracking. So please stop using forward 4. It's not going to get you anywhere. It's mainly an Oki tool for stuff like this, because this is guaranteed. Getting into block another one for you to be plus once they wake up is good. But don't just get used to the fact that they can eat this and you can just giant swing them from here. Because once you get to high enough levels, this is all going to crumble. So, I believe I've made my point. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. And yeah, I believe this is it for today's video. I thank you all for watching. Take care and goodbye.